What does be the train mean to you when you hear that? And in what capacity do you feel like you are the train in your life? Which I very much feel like you are.
But so finally I was like, you know what? I need to make a short film.
Yeah.
That's what everyone does. It's a good question. Honestly, I don't know how it can get much worse. The reason It's Not You, It's LA took so long to shoot is because I did not start with a ready to go script. I wrote 30 pages, then I wrote another 30 pages. And so to get the party started again and again is a really difficult way to go.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Be the Train, where we talk about all creative entrepreneurship, film, not film. And I'm super excited today to have our guest, Courtney Daniels, who has done some really cool things that we're going to get into. And she is going to introduce herself a little bit more. So welcome, Courtney. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Selena. I'm a filmmaker. I've made 3 feature films. I've put out a couple books, and right now I'm doing a podcast. It's called Gen X at Midlife, and that's what I'm up to.
I love it. And you recently made a movie all by yourself. Let's start with this question, and then I want to move into kind of how you did that. What does Be the Train mean to you when you hear that? And in what capacity do you feel like you are the train in your life, which I very much feel like you are?
As soon as I saw your premise, Be the Train, I knew exactly what you meant, and I agree with it completely. My book about independent filmmaking is called Yes, You Can, How to Make a Movie for Almost No Money. And a big part of my credo is you have to take the reins of your career. You have to do things yourself. No one is going to knock on your door and invite you to make a film or write a book or start a business. So I know exactly what you're talking about when you say you have to be the train. And I think it can take some time to realize that, you know?
Yeah.
Because you just kind of are in a la-la land where you think you'll get your shot somehow, and it doesn't really dawn on you. It's going to be you doing that. It's going to be you taking those steps. So,
Yeah. 100%. Okay, so now tell me a little bit about your movie and what it's about and how it came about and how you decided to do it on your own.
So my first movie, What Other Couples Do, we had a small crew. We shot it for a very low budget, but it was a proper production. You know, it was like 13 or 14 days. We had very limited locations. We had a budget. We had catering. My second movie, we shot even smaller scale. There was like 5 of us. There's me, my husband, who helps me make all of my work, a sound person, a gaffer, and our DP. And we shot it all in our house. It was about 15 shoot days. And then for my third one, though, it was something that I was just shooting on the side over several years' time.
Oh, wow.
So what happened was I shot a 14-minute pilot thinking I was making a TV series, a web series. But after I made that pilot with my DP from What Other Couples Do, with a sound person, and maybe we had one person assisting with lights, and my husband and I working as crew members, I realized I could not afford to keep going, keep paying people, keep hiring crew and stuff.
Yeah.
I had to just learn how to do everything myself. And so that's when I bought a camera, bought some lav microphones, bought some lighting, and then and got a subscription to Adobe Premiere Pro, and I learned how to edit. So I learned all of these things, and in about 3 months, I was shooting more footage for this project. And instead of releasing it as a series, I eventually decided, I want it to be a movie. And so I shoved everything together. I made sure I had like an 87-minute feature, and I released it that way.
Wow. So what's it about?
It was called This Fucking Town. And it was about actors getting rejected, getting their hearts broken as they looked for love and work in Hollywood.
Okay.
And then I changed the title to It's Not You, It's LA.
Okay.
Because,
which I love.
Thank you. Because it was too hard you cannot release a title that has cuss words in it.
Yeah.
You have to use symbols like ampersand, number sign, whatever. And so it was too hard for people to try to look that up to remember what symbols, So anyways, I renamed it. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So for everybody who's watching or listening, do you have like a general sense for what it costs you to get all these things? And would you say that it was really valuable? Because I do feel that we live in a digital era where people can be creating a lot more of their content, and a lot of what I'm, you know, behind in obviously my book and everything I do is how do we create opportunities for ourselves instead of having to wait for other people to give us opportunities. And I think that what you're saying to me is like the biggest opportunity is you have everything in your house so you can just shoot whenever you want, which makes it incredibly flexible. So what kind of investment do you think people should think about making if they wanted to do something like that?
Yeah.
And then also how do you set like realistic goals and time frames and deadlines if you just have everything in your house?
Depending on what camera you choose to buy, obviously that determines a big
Yeah.
But there are entry level cameras that you can get. They're very affordable. And I still own only one lens. It's a telephoto, 24 to 70 millimeter lens. And it enables you to shoot in tight spaces like bathrooms or closets, as well as in bigger settings. So it's just real flexible. But so that my gear is my Sony A7S II camera, which is now several years old. I do not care. The footage is still good looking.
Yeah.
I'm not into having new stuff every 2 years. I have a tripod, the camera. I have a couple of lavalier microphones. I think those were $199 a piece. Probably they've come down in price since then even, but what else? You just need just a very minimal gear kit. You don't want to have a lot of stuff because you're going to be schlepping it to actors' apartments and houses and to the park and wherever you're stealing shots. So, I don't want a ton of stuff. You know what I mean? It can be tempting to keep buying more gear, but I have a light mat from Light Gear, which is expensive. You don't even need that. You can get something much lighter weight now. There's nan lights, there's quasars. They're just small little bars that light up. You can change the temperature from cold to warm to imitate sunlight or nighttime lighting. So it's like, but in my book, I give you ideas for what a gear shopping list.
Oh, great.
You could spend $8,000 buying your kit, or you can spend way less.
Yeah.
Or way more if you insist on having the latest like Blackmagic or whatever camera is hot.
Yeah. And so what would you say in terms of like deadlines and goals? And so now let's say someone goes and buys their kit.
Yeah.
It's like, I think one of the biggest things for me, at least in terms of being the train, and I think it's one of the hardest parts, is showing up every day.
Yeah.
Because I think it's like,
because you have to keep showing
because you have to keep showing up. And because actually there's a lot of moments where it gets really hard to show up and where you're like, what am I even doing? And does this make any sense? And is there a story here? And what am I even shooting? And when the world is your oyster, sometimes that can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
So like, how can you like frame it in a context where you're like, these are the days I'm shooting. These are the days I'm not. This is by the time I'm finishing. Like, how do you do that for yourself?
The reason It's Not You, It's LA took so long to shoot is because I did not start with a ready to go script. I wrote 30 pages, then I wrote another 30 pages. And so to get the party started again and again is a really difficult way to go. Yeah. The beauty of it, I regret nothing. It turned out well, but it's like, the beauty of doing it as you go is you can pivot as different people become available. Certain actors they'll go back to school and they'll leave the profession, literally, you know what I mean? Or they'll move. So it's like people get older looking, they gain weight, just different things happen to affect the continuity of your project. And so it's like, so that's the danger of doing it slowly over time. I think Cassavetes made Faces over 6 months.
Yeah.
That used to sound long to me. That doesn't sound long at all now because it took me years to make It's Not You, It's LA. Yeah. But now I think what I would do differently is I would just start with my finished script, like have your 90-page, 100-page script, so that you don't have inertia set in. Yeah. Like, oh, I got to write the next chunk. Yeah. That's a big obstacle, obviously.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. So we made a movie during the height of the pandemic. Yeah. Where we filmed over 9 months during my actual pregnancy.
Amazing.
Which is, I don't recommend.
Yeah, thank God we don't know what we're in
pretty
for, right?
psychotic. And actually, it was actually really hard because I actually had a miscarriage while we were shooting.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And then, it was awful. And then we had to stop and then we had to reassess and are we going to do this again? And then we decided we were. And then all of a sudden 3 months into the second pregnancy, global pandemic. So the whole world shuts down, and we actually we had a script. We had a fully written 90-page script,
Okay.
and we had to throw that out because what we wrote was impossible to shoot.
Okay.
Because we were in a global pandemic where basically there were no people. I wasn't allowed to be next to anyone. I was actually pregnant. I was, now stuck in my house. And so it really took every single month coming up with what we were going to shoot that month.
That's amazing.
But we had a little bit of a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
Because my stomach was growing and we were going to get this done in 9 months.
Yeah.
And so it was like, whatever we're shooting this month.
Well, so that gave you your urgency.
Yeah.
Which is a huge gift because you're so right. So I think it can be helpful to have parameters, to have an actor who's only available for a short period of time. It can be helpful to bring on a best friend or a partner, someone who will, I always joke it's, only one person can be crazy at a time.
Oh,
only one person can be depressed at a time.
Yes, we always make that joke. My husband and I work together. We always say that. It's like, not turn to be depressed this time.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. I insist. It's my turn.
Yeah.
But it's like, but you need someone to give you the pep talk, right? Because I'm usually that person. I'm full of pep talks. I'm high energy like you are. Yeah. So it's like, but even we have our downtimes where we're just like, I feel overwhelmed. I feel sad, whatever it is. And so it's like, I think it can be really helpful to have a buddy who's egging you on, like, come on, we got to shoot this week or whatever, and to keep. And as long as you involve people, you're going to be accountable to those people if you're at all if you have any kind of sense of responsibility. So it's like, so for me, it's really helpful to tell actors, I want to shoot this because now I've said it. And now I feel like I'm on the hook.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I need to book with you, get you on the calendar. Like, I'm coming over to your place Tuesday. We're shooting for 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. And so in terms of that feeling of kind of like hopelessness or not knowing what you're doing or not knowing what comes next, how do you deal with that as a creative? I mean, you're obviously doing a lot of creative things. Yeah. And I also want to talk about the fact that you wrote multiple books. Because it takes a long time to write one book.
It's not a joke. These books don't write themselves.
No.
They do not write
I know.
No. People are going to try with AI, but it's like, that's not the book I want to read, right?
No, 100%. No, it needs to come from you for it to have any value or for it to be interesting. So how do you keep yourself?
I constantly have to pull myself up by my bootstraps. It's over and over again. It gets easier over the years. I don't even think anymore in terms of some train is going to pick me up. I'm very committed to I am the train. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, so I don't even think in terms of putting a script out to see if it'll sell. Yeah. Knocking on doors to see if somebody will give me money to make a movie. Like I am much happier if I'm not waiting on other people to do what I want them to do. It's better if it just comes from me. And so therefore I make things for very low budgets that my husband and I can finance ourselves. If you have no money, then use no money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and the other thing is too, I will say this because I love what you're saying. I agree with you.
Okay.
And then I also want to add though, because I have a whole chapter in my book about cold emails, but I have had so many things come out of cold emails.
Really? That's exciting. That's cool.
And a lot of it has to do with actually being really targeted. Yeah. And very specific. Yeah. About who you're emailing and what you're emailing about, what you want.
Yes.
And what you can offer.
Having some idea that they might say yes.
Exactly.
And because you know what they're into or what they're doing.
100%. And knowing like what you are adding value-wise to them. Yeah. But I have actually found that we have been able to have some incredible partnerships that have come to the surface. Like, for example, during our marketing campaign of our movie, when our movie went to 250 theaters nationwide, we partnered with 20 brands, including like Glam Squad, Lynch Chocolate, the W Hotel in Punta Mita, the Tourism Board in Nayarit, all of these places. And it actually really started because I really believe like, you have to use one thing to leverage the next thing.
Yeah. In other words, getting the first person to say yes is the
hardest part.
And then you can, because people want to know who else is doing that.
Exactly. Because everyone's kind of like a sheep, which sounds bad, but it's true. People just want to be a part of something that someone else is part of.
It's social proof.
Yeah.
If you've read Influence by Robert Cialdini, it's a thing that lever. Yeah.
But, and you never know like who might actually want to, but
if they get something out of it.
Exactly. And it's true that you're kind of like, you're throwing it onto the universe. You probably send, I don't know, 1,000 emails, you get 10 responses. Yes. those 10 responses can be life changing.
Yeah. I love that. I love hearing that because I can get closed off in a different way, which is no one's going to say yes.
Yeah.
And so I have to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just not true. And I think the more you accomplish, the more you prove that you're someone who gets things done.
Yeah.
Then you have even more backing you up.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, oh, this is a person of action.
Yeah.
This is someone who makes things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, so I think I forget that I have that credibility now.
100%.
That bank of goodwill or
Yeah.
trust.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't draw on it often enough, I think.
Well, and it's interesting because it's funny that you say that even when I think about the emails that I've sent.
Yeah.
Like if I were to look at a cold email I sent 10 years ago.
Okay.
And a cold email that I sent 2 days ago, I sound so much more legit.
Yes.
Because like you said, because I've just done so many, but it's same for you, right? It's like we've kept making things happen. And so by making them happen, we're actually legitimate people who make things happen.
Yeah.
And then that's our resume. And then that actually helps other companies and
decide.
People go, oh, wow, that's a person I want to be in business with.
The other thing, but I think the other thing life experience does for you is you see that everyone just puts on their pants one leg at a time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're not that much more special than you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think you become more fearless. Like we're all going to die one day. We're going to die. And so it's like, why not me? People don't like it when I bring this up. So like, but it's like I have an obsession with death. But anyways, but it's like, but that helps me act today.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm very aware the end is coming. Yeah. And so it's like I don't want to leave any regrets.
Yeah.
And I don't want to leave anything untried that I wanted to try.
That you wanted to do. Yeah, I hear that. So tell me a little bit about all the different books that you've written and what inspired them and kind of like what was the time frame on that for you?
I love that you think I've written a ton of books. I've written 2.
Okay.
But yeah.
That's so a lot.
Yeah. So you're only one away from me. But what happened? Let's see. During the pandemic, because I could not shoot with the usual actors I worked with and stuff, and I couldn't finish It's Not You, It's LA, which I was waiting to finish. I was like this close, and I was like, oh, I wish this, you know. It was a great time I had always wanted to just share everything I had learned the hard way about making films for almost no money, but it was never a good time. I always preferred doing to talking about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm not going to stop and write a book right now. I want to make my next movie. Well, the pandemic, lockdowns up and in and out of lockdowns, that was a great time to just sit down and be like, okay, what do I know?
Yeah.
I just put it all out there. And I got a book coach, like a book consultant who helped me carry it through. Like she helped me get the cover, a beautiful cover. She helped the layout design. You know, she did all those things. I was chiefly responsible for the content, you know, like the inside of the book. And so I wrote it. Probably it only took me about 4 months.
Okay.
But it's a short book. It's 200 and something pages or whatever. Yeah. And I asked myself at one point, I was like, when is this going to be finished? And I was like, oh, it'll be done when I've said everything I know about making indie films. And you might think, well, that's too much. It's like, no, it's kind of finite. And there's a point at which you're just going to be repeating yourself. Yeah. So I was like, I'll know when I'm done. But so anyways, I finished it. It went into her team's hands where they did the layout design, all that stuff. And so I have beautiful printed copies of it on her site, otterpinepress.com. And I have my own, like you can get a cheaply printed Amazon copy from Amazon.
Okay.
Same price, but you'll get the shipping covered.
Okay.
You know, if you go to her site.
And what's it called?
It's called Yes You Can.
Yes.
How to Make a Movie for Almost No Money.
Okay.
And so that was a good time to do that. My latest book it's a screenplay that I just wrote in the last year or so. It's called A Blind Date in NYC.
Okay.
Friends and family were like, well, I want to read it. So I was like, okay, let me turn it into a little novella.
Oh.
So it's just a short novel. And
That's fun.
I put that on Amazon because I was like, why not just have that be on Amazon while I'm trying to get financing?
Yeah.
I really am against looking for financing to make a film. This story is bigger. There's more characters. There's more locations. I was like, that's going to be a movie I make with someone else's money or with our money and someone else's or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Okay, I love that. Yeah. And so I feel like there's a lot of people in the indie film community that are using Substack a lot right now.
Okay.
And you just went to a Substack event. I know you're on Substack, and
Yeah.
that's how my husband is also my business partner. Found out about your work.
Okay.
So, what kind of stuff are you finding on Substack? Have you met anyone that you're collaborating with, or has anything interesting been happening for you there? Or like what? Like what kind of community do you feel like is building in that space?
Certainly the indie filmmaking scene is huge, it seems like, or maybe not huge. There's a core group of people who it seems like are real into sharing ideas on Substack, getting each other pumped up. It's very positive. There are a couple of Debbie Downers in the group. But mostly because there are some harsh facts about the film landscape right now. You know, it's hard to make money.
Yeah.
It's rare to get a sale price for a movie now. If anything, maybe you'll get a distribution deal where, you know, you're getting a percentage of profits or whatever, but it's harsh out there. My whole thing though is, okay, but what are you going to do about it? Lay down and die? It's like if you want to make stuff, you still have to make stuff. You're still going to be compelled to do it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, so to me, keep the budgets low, you know, and try to make something truly from your heart that cannot be AI written.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It cannot be replaced.
Yeah. But so Substack is the place to go if you want to get jazzed about indie filmmaking. You know what I mean? Like, I think. And you get a lot of, it seems like almost every time you make a post, you get some new followers.
Yeah.
You know, if you share other people's stuff generously, you get followers from that. You know, like you tend to get some traction. You tend to have conversations with people if you engage there.
I'm trying to engage more.
Well, it's like there's only so much time in the day.
I know, it's hard.
We could spend all of our time saying stuff on social media, or we can make a movie.
I know that.
So it's like, so that it will never be my priority to spend time on social media. It just never will.
Yeah. Like, no, I agree. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to figure out where you put your time, especially when you are creative and you want to make things.
Yeah.
And there's, you know, a finite amount of time. What would you say is a moment in your career where you didn't wait for anyone and did something, and then what is something you learned, or what is something you would have done differently?
I had been writing spec screenplays, trying to sell one for years.
Yeah.
Me and all my friends, everyone was their heads down, and we're writing I wrote at least 15 screenplays that way. Just rewrote. It would take me about a year to write each one. And meanwhile, I was working a day job most of the time and stuff. And finally I was like, no one's going to give me a chance to direct.
Yeah.
And so, it's not working what I'm doing. I'm not selling a spec screenplay.
Yeah.
I think there's some sexism involved, but I'm not going to dwell on that. But so finally I was like, you know what? I need to make a short film.
Yeah.
That's what everyone does, right? Just make a short film. And so I did that. We shot over 3 days. We had like maybe a 15-page script. It went like clockwork. It was like a well-oiled machine. And I realized, oh, maybe I can produce. Maybe I'm good at this.
Yeah.
And I certainly loved writing. I had been doing that for years. And I like directing. And so I was like, okay, I definitely want to make a feature now. I almost wish I had not bothered making a short film. I am not into short films. I will tell anyone who will listen. Because as soon as you make one, you're like, okay, now what do I do with it? I mean, like, maybe some people make money from them. I don't know. I don't care. I really, to me, long form storytelling is what I'm into.
Yeah.
If something is good at 8 minutes, well, then I want to hunker down and watch the whole 90 minutes. You know what I mean? So it's like, so now my whole thing is take your short film and turn that into a feature.
Yeah.
Let nothing be wasted. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, what's weird is I cannot find my short film. Because it was at that point, everyone burned DVDs. So it's like, I got to find that sucker because it would be fun to build on that maybe.
Yeah.
You know? But anyway, so that's what I learned. What I learned from it is, yes, I like doing this, which is important. Some people do actually make a short film and realize they don't want that leadership role.
Yeah.
Right. Or it was hard enough doing it that they don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which I get. You're pushing a boulder up a mountain, you know.
And what would you say? So for everyone who is watching this, I know a lot of people, well, I get this question a lot because I do a lot of public speaking stuff.
Yeah.
And I get this question a lot, like, what are you doing when you're not making a movie to survive? Because obviously, it is hard, and the independent space is hard.
Yeah.
And we do a number of different things.
Okay.
But it's like, we do consulting, and I do casting, and
okay.
we do commercials, and we do, but it's like, but I think it's a question that comes up a lot, especially for people who are just starting and they're trying to figure out, like, how do you make this a sustainable life?
Yeah.
And I'm curious, how you've made it sustainable.
You know what? I feel like that brings up my biggest regret is that I didn't have a trade or a sustainable day job from the get-go.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I had taken the really long view. I thought I would succeed in 3 years.
Yeah.
I thought I would sell a script, at the most it'll take 3 years.
Yeah.
What a J. Okay. So it's like, so I literally, if I had been a plumber, an electrician, cut hair, something, because I feel like if you find something that you enjoy doing enough to where you're like, okay, this is going to tide me over. That's going to make me money. It's like, and it's something people always need.
Yeah.
If it's some service that people always need. But I strongly recommend to young people, like, find something you can stand to do, something you like to do for money, so that you don't have all your pressure on art making.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think it's.
So I answered phones for years.
Okay.
I was a receptionist.
Okay.
And what was great is my bosses they didn't care that I was writing scripts while I was at work. There was a point where I literally could not write I was so in the habit of, good morning, launch bag, good morning, launch bag. Like when I finally was able to quit my job because my husband was making enough money for me to do that, I was like freaked out by the silence of our house.
Yeah. You're like, how do I write without a 5-minute interruption? No.
It actually, you can get used to anything, and it actually can be helpful, because if that day job, particularly, like, I would break down crying every few months because I was like, I'm just a receptionist, blah, blah. And it's like, that's because I would get to these points where I stopped working on my scripts.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then if you're just doing that, well, then you are just a receptionist. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. No judgment. But I didn't want to be a receptionist for life. I wanted to be a screenwriter.
Yeah.
So it's like, it can actually really fuel you. Like, okay, if I'm not writing, then I guess this is all I'm doing.
Yeah. And are you an actor as well?
No, I never tried. I tried briefly in Houston before I moved here. I think I won an opportunity to take like an acting lesson or something like that.
Okay.
And I got to the place. I didn't know what sides were, but they gave me dialogue. Yeah. And I read the dialogue and I was like, this is crap. I was like, I want to rewrite this.
Yeah.
And so that really tipped me off, like, oh, maybe I'm more interested in writing.
Interesting.
Scripts.
So have you ever thought about writing your own role for yourself?
I actually would love to do that, because it'd be one less actor I need to schedule with, to pay, to do it. Not that I'm not.
But also, I mean, I don't know, my experience, because I do this all the time, is I write for myself to star. And I feel like what's so cool, or what's been so fulfilling for me about it, is that I'm actually taking elements of my own personality.
Yeah.
And so I'm not playing me.
Yes.
I'm taking pieces of me.
Yeah.
And I'm exaggerating those pieces.
Sure.
And then I'm taking away other pieces of me. So I'm creating like a new person. It's really fun it almost does feel like psychology. Like, it's like I'm exploring a version of who I could have been had my life been slightly different.
Yes.
And so then it makes the acting really fun, because it's like really personal.
Yeah.
And then it almost feels like, oh, well, no one could play this like me.
I get that totally. And I think that would be amazing. I will not be able to stomach this footage of myself on camera. Like, I can't. Like, I hate it. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, that's really hard for me. I would prefer, if I could never see another picture of myself again, that would be great.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, no, I can't cast myself, but I wish I could. That would be incredible.
Well, it's interesting, because I feel like for me, a lot of what I do, I feel like I have like two hats. Like, I have like my actor hat, and then I have like my producer hat.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'll watch myself in my actor hat. It's like, ugh, that angle, like, how dare, like, my chin look like, but then my producer self is like, no, it's good. Like, it's raw, like it's real, like you're not supposed to look like good in every angle. You're supposed to look like a person, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
and so it's interesting. And I've learned with time, because in the beginning it was very hard because I had been a producer first for many years.
Okay.
And so it was like really easy for me to see how authentic things needed to feel in the context of someone else being the actor.
Everything's always perfect all the time.
Then it doesn't feel real.
Yeah.
But in the context of me being the lead actor, it was like, whoa, my face looks like that? Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially, oh my God, and filming myself pregnant. Are you kidding? Like, it was like, talk about like torture and self, you know, like self-conscious, but I feel like I've learned to be able to be like, no, actually that's good. People appreciate that. People want
naturalistic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember? You're too young, but Madonna, there was a documentary about her, Truth or Dare, that she made. Was it Alex Kashishian? I can't remember who directed it, but they used to joke off camera that anytime she looked haggard or tired or whatever, they were like, well, it'll just add to the tragedy.
Yeah.
And I thought that was great. Like, it'll make it more tragic. You know?
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
Yeah. Is there anything you feel like I haven't asked you that you feel is really valuable to share with people who are trying to live a creative life, who are really curious about making something and who are maybe starting out?
Yeah, I would say my biggest thing is, and this is not a new idea, but to try little experiments.
Yeah.
Just tell yourself, this isn't it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to shoot this little thing. It's going to suck.
Yeah.
And then just try.
Yeah.
Because you might surprise yourself. It might turn out better than you think.
Yeah.
There might be some little flash of brilliance where you're like, I can build on that, you know?
Yeah.
And pick some charismatic friend.
Yeah.
There's somebody in your life who is compelling to watch on screen, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, so get that person or get those people and have them just mix it up on camera. You know what I mean? Give them some source of conflict.
Yeah.
And have them start engaging.
I think what's really interesting about what you're saying to me that I think is really important is that you have to play and you have to be silly and learn to be okay with like not perfect.
Yeah.
And I think so much of what stops us from creating and so much of what stops us from starting is this idea that if it's not perfect or if it's not great or if it's not brilliant, then it's not worth doing.
Yeah.
And I think we live in this world that's kind of like full of like experts, you know, like everyone's an expert at something. Success. It's all social media. Obsessed with success. But the truth is that there isn't one person who got there without doing it a million times.
Yeah.
Like there isn't one person. They had to fail a million times.
Yes.
And I think that we don't see that piece.
Yeah.
And so we get really
You're not there for all that.
No, we're not there for all that. Yeah.
And I think really more and more I've been waking up to my own ambition making me really unhappy.
Yeah.
I really think if you're doing things to be successful, to make money, to become famous, whatever it is that's driving you, I would try to kill that in you. I really would, because I think it makes there comes a point where you reckon with it and it makes you really unhappy because it's a form of self-rejection.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not good enough right now the way I am. Yeah. My life isn't good enough the way it is right now. When in fact, you probably have many blessings.
You know? 100%. And I think that what's interesting to me about what you're saying there, I think we live in like a culture where we've actually been marketed this idea that
it's
nothing's enough.
Yeah, because that makes you buy stuff.
Because it makes you buy stuff. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so I feel like they want us to be unhappy so that we buy more things to be happy.
Yeah, it's advertising.
It's advertising.
Yeah. People used to call it Madison Avenue, but it's like advertising drives that, right? But also it divorces you from your sense of play.
Yeah.
It disconnects you from why you're doing things in the first place.
Yeah.
Which cannot be just like, oh, the world's going to know my name.
Yeah.
That's an ugly thought, really. You know what I mean? It's like, what about making something that people love? What about making something that inspires people? It's like that's a drive to get behind, I think.
And also in terms of people knowing your name, the other thing that I think is super interesting, because the more I'm doing this and the longer I've been doing this, the more I actually know a lot of people whose names are very recognized. Yeah. And it does not change anything. It does not change the narrative. It does not change the I am not enoughness. It does not. And it's very interesting to
Like
observe.
you're witnessing that in them.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the time.
That's
and
great.
so it's really interesting to me because it's like my whole life I thought, well, when you like arrive, right? And that's a part, and that's in my book too, because I think there's this whole idea of arriving. I don't think you actually ever arrive.
No, there's no easy street.
There's
right?
no destination. Like
Yes.
the journey's your life. And the end is death, like you said. So it's like, what's interesting to me is that now that I've met all these people that are successful, kind of like at this exponential level that maybe some part of me has desired,
Yeah.
is it doesn't actually solve this piece that we're talking about.
Yeah. It's an unfillable void.
It's unfillable.
Right.
And they're
It will
constantly
never be
beefing about what didn't work and the last show or the last movie they did and what the one critic who didn't like it and what the next one is and if they're going to be able to get money again because their last one wasn't as whatever or they didn't have the money they wanted to do it the way they really want or you know what I mean? So it's like all that stuff
It
never go away.
Right? It never ends. It's part of the human condition, I think. And so it's like if we can be happy today, now, with what we have,
Yeah.
and see the beauty, honestly, I really think this amazes me because when I made What Other Couples Do, I really wished, and I put this in my book, I wished I didn't have to depend on other people.
Yeah.
I wanted to just do it myself. I was very much a lone wolf, and I just want to do things myself. And I came out of that experience being amazed at how beautiful it was that everyone came together, contributed something personal, and collaborated and did more than I even foresaw, you know?
Yeah.
And I was grateful that I learned that lesson. And so now I really think the greatest thing that comes from shooting stuff is just getting together with friends. Like it's usually just me and another actor. I just go to their place and we hang out. We barely notice we're even shooting something because we're like, we're just talking about life, catching up, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, okay, let's get one more take. You know, it's just a joy.
Yeah.
It is a total joy.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm trying to embrace process more. I'm trying to enjoy process because I was never a process person.
Yeah.
I was always but is it good?
Yeah.
Like, what is the reward?
Yeah.
What do I, what's going to come of this? Yeah. And it's like, that's just not a recipe for happiness.
Well, and also that's totally out of your control.
100%.
You know, that's like, I mean, you can make
That's the big reason not to get attached, right? Is it's not in your control.
It's not in your control.
Yeah.
And I've seen things that are terrible do incredibly well. And I've seen things that are incredible not get recognized at all.
Yeah.
And it's a really interesting experience.
Yeah.
And obviously everything is subjective.
Yeah.
So, but it is like, wow, you know. What do you think? What do you think is the future of independent film?
It's a good question. Honestly, I don't know how it can get much worse. As far as making money, you know what I mean? Like, so I would urge people not to get into it thinking they're going to get rich. I don't know who would still think that at this point, but maybe somebody's out there. I don't know. I do think there will become better ways for people to get matched with their tastes. Like, I think that one of the trickiest things now is for the people who would be fans of your work to find it, right? And so it's like, I'm hoping the search engines get better at predicting your taste. Because right now, Netflix is showing me shit I don't want to see.
Well, that's interesting. That's actually very interesting because maybe AI will help with that a lot.
Maybe it will.
Yeah.
Maybe it will. Yeah, that would be great.
And I'm just going to shout out my husband here who's created Dan, who's created this new platform called Non-Demand. And I'm curious if something like this would be interesting to you just because he's just putting this out on the market.
Yeah.
But it's, you know how on Amazon you put your film up and they basically take like 70% of anything you earn.
Yeah.
How would you feel about a platform where you keep 90% of everything you earn and you can price it however you want so that it's not, so it's more for like truly independent films.
And put it on your own website.
And put it on your own website as well.
Like white label. So this is what I wanted to do with Vimeo.
Yeah.
Okay. I really liked the interface with Vimeo.
Yeah.
It's classy. It's nice. It's, but what I found is it was super hard to keep driving traffic to it.
Yeah.
And I didn't have it in me to continuously promote.
Yeah.
And try to push traffic there. If y'all can find a way to train people to like, oh, I'm going to, well, maybe you don't have to. So you're saying I would put a link
Yeah, so basically,
for my on-demand.
yeah.
Hold
So
on.
yeah.
So what it is we created a video player that's like a TVOD player that you
Okay.
can put on any website.
Yes.
And so that initially was just for our movie to figure out how to do TVOD for us.
Yes.
But then I realized the website on demand can be an aggregator of anyone who uses our player. So
Okay,
that's
got
how
it.
it can feed a system and become like a TVOD streaming platform because
Yes.
it's an aggregator of anyone who uses the player.
Okay. Are you going to limit it to movies and short films, or what will you
Movies,
series?
features, short films.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not. You're not trying to be YouTube.
No, we're not
No.
trying to be YouTube, but we want to curate it a little bit and
Yeah.
start with features, and documentary has a hard time getting out there.
Okay.
And then we've kind of broken the format.
And I think no, it's fine. I think that
How's it different than Fandor? Do you remember Fandor?
Fandor?
Yes. Or is it similar to Fandor?
Maybe
Kind of
a
like
little bit.
Criterion Collection-y.
Not well. I don't know. We're defining it as we go, because
Yeah.
it's like it's more about giving a place. It's a new window before
Yeah.
Amazon because I found they took too much of the profits. So if you're driving
Yeah.
your community somewhere, you should be able to reap the benefit.
well, and also you should be able to price it according. So like the other thing that's very hard about
That you can put it on your website.
well, and it's very so Amazon is hard also because Amazon's like, oh, if you're an independent film, you should charge $4. If you're not, you should charge $8. That's kind of their
Yeah.
suggestion.
Yeah.
But the reality is, and I think this is really interesting about pricing, is like maybe you'd be willing to rent a movie for $4 that is like a bigger movie that you've heard of that you don't want to go see in theaters.
Yes.
But maybe a truly independent small film, you don't want to pay $4
Yeah.
to rent it. Maybe you
Okay.
want to pay $2 to rent
But
it.
at least you're keeping more of the.
But at
makers
least the
keeping more.
filmmaker's keeping 90% of the $2.
Yes.
Do you see what I'm saying? So
Yes.
and then you could take all of your community. So if you already have, let's say, a community of 5,000 people who would be willing to pay $2.
Yes.
Why wouldn't all of that go basically to you?
Yes. Kind of like
Instead
with Louis
of-
C.K. Remember when Louis C.K. put his latest comedy special on his own website?
Yeah.
I think it was. And then he just made the money.
Yeah.
Then there was
Yeah.
no middleman.
Well, it's the same thing with like Taylor Swift when she was like, when she did her release,
Okay.
her theatrical release, she didn't have a distributor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of like stuff like that where you're
Yeah.
just like you
And it's
you
white
cut
label.
out you
They're
cut
not
out
taking
more.
them to YouTube or
No.
Vimeo.
No.
Staying on your site.
You're staying on your site, but you're cutting out all the
That's
kind of
neat.
middlemen.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
okay, yay.
It seems to me I would want to do both, to be honest.
Yeah, of course.
Because you want to be where people, Film Hub is who I distribute my movies through.
Yeah.
And the reason I like them, there are many reasons, but one of them is that you want to be wherever someone might stumble upon your movie.
Yeah.
Because at first I was like, I only want Amazon and Tubi. And they're like, no, you should really put it everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, I don't trust you on that, because to me, it was cannibalizing. As low as the pay is on Amazon, it's even lower on many other sites.
Yeah.
But it's like, but if I could have it in both places, then there's nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You might gather some people.
Yeah,
It's just like,
100%.
Courtney, how can I support you? I want to watch it on your site or whatever.
100%.
Great. Yeah, that's
100%.
cool. Yeah.
I love that. Well, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
joining us today.
I love your voice.
Thank you. And why don't
So
you let everybody know, if you want to speak directly to camera, let everybody know where they can find you.
Okay.
What are the names of the different things that they can see, read that you have done,
Yeah.
and where they can find it?
Okay, great. I have a website, CourtneyDanielsFilms.com. There's links to my movies there. I have blog posts about stuff I've learned that I want to share. And I have links to my books. And I have a couple of videos where I talk to aspiring filmmakers about how to get started. I have a YouTube channel. But links to everything you can find on my website.